Coach Ethan said that he wasn't really paying attention to the score, his stat line today, and then he puts up those numbers and he was surprised when the crowd gave him that ovation. You know, just what are you thinking about this game following up from his, you know, breakout college debut last game?
I think he probably figured that everybody thought, well, maybe that was a fluke, you know, your first game, you got 15 and 8, so maybe he thought, well, I better prove that wasn't beginner's luck, and he definitely proved that. How about this? Second game you played, you get 23 and 9. Oh my gosh, in 26 minutes. Amazing. But I will tell you that, you know when you do have the biggest stat lines is when you have no idea. You're not thinking about how many I'm scoring or rebound. You just play to win. I tell our guys that all the time. One of the things I believe in more than anything that I learned over all the years, particularly playing, that if you lose yourself in the game and your only purpose out there is to try to help your team win, you'll be surprised what kind of numbers end up on a stat sheet at the end. And then you'll also be very surprised if you go into the game thinking, you know what, I'm going to really have a big game. You'll be surprised how small some of the numbers are a lot of times. So he's playing to win. He's obviously got great feel, great touch, weapons in a lot of different ways, and what a tremendous addition. Particularly, you know, we're one short-handed in our inside positions, of course, without Okoye, and Okoye has very good experience and is a talented player that's battled a lot of injuries. So, you know, Ethan's performances here in the first two games are more than welcomed.
You talk about how impressive those numbers are for 2 games in. Have they exceeded your expectations for his start?
Yeah. I mean, I would be lying. These are big numbers. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in all our guys. But if we're only talking about Ethan, certainly as a staff, we talked about, you know, he's going to put up some numbers, and everybody agreed. He can do so many different things out there that he's going to put up numbers. But these are big numbers. These are large numbers. So, yeah, I'd have to say that just the confidence he's playing with, he doesn't look like a freshman at all. At all. I've already forgotten that he is a freshman, and he's no longer a freshman. Just so we know, he doesn't get that anymore.
You knew you were going to need big stuff from the young guys, given the makeup of the roster. Given that, how important has it been for him to come out this way to start the season? Critical, because again, you know, with Okoye's injury, Okoye, we felt like starting the year we were going to have 3 really experienced players back, you know, Goo, Dre, Shake, and that was our nucleus. And then of course Jimmy Witt was here, so it's kind of like a half experienced player. He knows what we're doing, but he hadn't played in the games. And then when we got Okoye, so that's at least 5 not returning, but experienced players. Most teams probably have 8 or 9 coming back, but you know, you can deal with 5. And then when Okoye went out, now you're looking at a whole other experience level. So for these guys to know that they're not just on the team, they're responsible. They're responsible for the winning and losing. Not only Ethan, though. Ethan had numbers, and we always talk about guys with numbers, but it's so important. You know, how well did other guys play? How well did Eli and William and Everett play? And I thought, gosh, for game number 2, I thought they did so many good things, and maybe it hasn't caught fire yet in terms of numbers production, but I'm here to tell you I've seen them in practice. I've seen them in scrimmages where they are pretty darn productive, and I think the more confidence, the more playing time, the more they get acclimated, I think you'll see their numbers go up, and that's going to be part of our natural improvement. The other part will be just all the learning that goes on with, you know, this is my first time out here, and that's not to say our experienced guys are doing everything right, but they're going to have to be close. They're going to have to be on point an awful lot of the time if we're going to be successful.
What are the biggest adjustments, not just the young guys, but overall biggest adjustments that you saw between game 1 and 2?
First one, you know, we felt like we fouled. We fouled so much in the first half of the first game, and those were just what I would call discipline fouls. Most of them was just reaching and putting your hands on somebody. But of course that would happen. Our young guys have never felt this kind of pace and these kind of athletes and these kind of whistles, and you're going to be held accountable when you start putting your hands on people. So that was one. Number 2, I thought we did a really poor job the first game in defensive transition and allowing, you know, their guys to get into the paint in 2 or 3 seconds. We work on that all the time, and we weren't any good at it. Those were our emphasis coming in. We didn't put them at the line very much at all in the first half. Our defensive transition was much better, and those were our emphasis, you know, and so I'm really happy about that. Of course, then something else happens. It's always going to happen. We turned it over 11 times the first half. Like, ouch. You know, it's hard to have a great half when you make 11 turnovers, and some of them are live ball turnovers where we get to watch them go to the other end, 2-on-1 or 3-on-2 or 1-on-0 or whatever. Those are never good. And then, you know, we did a good job on the offensive boards tonight. A very, 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 very poor job on the defensive boards. But here we go. We got another area that we're going to really concentrate and make sure we improve that. So really it's kind of what coaching is, and particularly with a team that's just, you know, I mean, out of lack of a better word, we are a work in progress, because we're just a bunch of guys coming together in small numbers and young and old and in between, and we got to figure out how to maximize this. But what we definitely have to do is on a daily and weekly basis, try to fix the ways, try hard to fix the ways that you beat yourself. And once you do that, then you have a chance against outstanding teams. But if you have not learned to eliminate all those ways, I forgot to block out and I'm fouling a guy. I mean, you can play a 6th grade team, and if you foul them, they can beat you because they can make free throws. And if you can play anybody, and if they rebound on you and put back shots, you can get beat. So there's many ways. If you turn the ball over all the time, you're beating yourself. And so that's what we have to start with. That is our starting point. It's always a starting point. You gotta eliminate the ways that you lose because you beat yourself. And once you get great at that, then you can go into a more advanced strategy. All right, we got all these basics down. Now how are we going to actually win? How are we not keeping from losing? How are we actually going to win? So we're on the early stage. We're trying to eliminate the ways that we're going to beat ourselves.
Coach, your offensive efficiency has exploded whenever Goo has been on the floor, but yet he's been in foul trouble these first couple games. What do you say to him moving forward, knowing that he is, in the future, might be, you know, one of the more experienced guys coming off the bench, knowing that he has to make an impact, but hasn't been able to do so playing the fewest minutes of any starter? Yeah,
something really, you know, deep and clever, like you really have to try not to foul. but having, no, I mean, but I'm being facetious, but you know what? You got to be careful too, because if you overemphasize, it's a delicate balance. You know, another way a person thinks don't foul is they just like, well, I just don't even do anything and I don't guard and I just stand out here. And of course, that is a recipe for disaster. So what it is to play harder and yet with more discipline. And it's as simple as that. He knows that. He didn't foul that much last year. He just had a little bit of bad luck. But he's going to get that solved. I got a lot of confidence in him. He's a heck of a player. And you're right. We are more efficient. He's a key guy. He's a guy that, you know, he can put up points. He can make plays. He can get to the basket. He can rebound. He's a great defender. He's very valuable, and I hope he's not disappointed. He's going to have a lot of big games for us.
In a close game like this, what do you tell your players at halftime?
Well, the first one is always that I believe this. You know what halftime is? Is just a long timeout. It's a fake, like, you know, a math problem. Like, oh my gosh, let's see, if you're up 3 at the half, that means you probably win by 6 if you do the math. And it's a fake time. It's just a artificial timeout. That's what halftime is. But it gives you a chance to regroup, and it gives you a chance to make adjustments and figure out what you're really doing wrong. So if you're asking today, it was, look, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot 11 times. We got to get shots on goal. It's a little bit like hockey. You know, we got to get some shots on the goal, and if you turn it over 11 times, you're not getting enough shots. And the other thing we got to do a much better job is the defensive rebounding side of things. When they had, what they had, 11 offensive rebounds in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. It was way too many. So you address the things that are whipping you that you got to fix, and then of course you always go to, well, who are their hot hands? Who are the guys tonight that are really feeling it? And as you go across the season, you'll see that, you know, it's not just, well, their best player, second best player. You know, everyone ebbs and flows through the season, but you figure out at halftime, these two guys got their head up in a big way, and we got to do something about it. Maybe you switch matchups, maybe you crowd them a little more, maybe you just guard them better, maybe they start missing. But those are the kind of adjustments, and then you look at your offensive end and say what's working, what's not. what are they giving us trouble with? But, you know, every time it's just trying to make some subtle adjustments. It's rarely major adjustments. Sometimes it is, but mostly it's just subtle.
At one point, you ran out a lineup of Shake, Jimmy, Melagoo, Will Douglas, and Foster. What makes you comfortable going with a lineup that small?
Well, we were trying to set the record for the United States smallest team on the floor at one time. So I don't know if that's in there. We wanted to get in that record book. I thought it was just as important as winning the game. No, I think it's no secret that we're not afraid to play small ball. We lived in small ball last year, if that's what you want to call it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of big ball, but I like mixing those things up. I think it gives people problems, you know, and I think sometimes it happens to us the other way. And when teams are kind of mixing up big, little, big, all of a sudden they're really small, and you have to adjust and figure out, ooh, can we match up? Do we need to zone? Do we need to sub? So who's dictating the game? You know, are you or are they? And I like to try to dictate the game far more than our opponent. You can't always do that, but sometimes you can, and I really enjoy when that ability has swung to us. But I have confidence those guys. Shoot, Benny Malagoo and Dre were our 4 or 5 men today, if you want to put numbers on them. Although they would hate me for saying that, because they think they're like 1s and 2s, because everyone wants to be a smaller number, and I think you're better off with a bigger number. But anyway, yeah, we did go pretty small for a while, and part of that is to see and let me say this: can we defend first? For me, it's not, well, let's see if we can trade baskets with these guys. Does this lineup give us a chance to defend them? Because if not, if we're just in a really poor defensive matchup, then we're going to foul and give up easy shots, and that's never something I want to sign up for. So I will say, we don't want to do it if we are, call it an educated guess, sometimes it's just a guess, but if what our gut feeling is that we don't think we can guard well, then we're not going to do it. But we like to throw out different lineups and different matchups and try to present problems when we can.
Just right quick, going back to Ethan, without giving away too many of your plans for the future, what possibilities do you think open up for him when he's playing next to a court?
I don't know yet, and I'm really not trying to, you know, be hiding things. There will be a decision to be made. Do we? Well, it goes right back to what I just said. Can we defend that way? There's my first question, because I think for me, it always has to start with defense and rebounding. If I don't ever want to just get and say, well, we can't stop them, but it'll be hard for them to stop us. I think that's a fool's gold, and I think I've never been comfortable with that. Learned that a long time ago with some great coaches that I worked with many, many moons ago. They taught me that you need to be thinking about the defensive end far more than offense, or, you know, making sure you're able to stop people. So when you go on the road, you better be able to stop them. So can those two guys play together? I don't know right now. I don't know, but it would be nice if they could at times. But at the same time, you know, you look at kind of the way we've been playing here. We've been playing sort of 4 guards last year, this year, and if we could swing back and forth and really make a big change on people, that would be great. But honestly, I'd be lying to say if I knew that we could do that right now.